Okay, I think we're going to get started. We have a good group going. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's session discussing the overview of NCMA certification hosted by the National Contract Management Association. My name is Jody Leon. I'm a learning specialist here at NCMA HQ, and I'll be hosting the presentation along with Bree Staker, our Director in Certification and Standards, and Demi Brees, our Certification Advocate Contract Specialist and support. Throughout the presentation, you can go ahead and use the chat window to communicate with each other like you're doing right now. We love that. If you have any questions, though, for Bria and I, we're going to answer those at the end of the presentation today, and please put them in the Q&A feature. So again, you're going to use the chat window to communicate with each other all you like, and then if you have any questions for Bree or myself, again, you're going to use the Q&A feature, and we will address those at the end of the presentation. Okay, Bree, I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next slide. Thank you so much. Okay, so by the way, again, my name is Jody Leon, and I'm the learning specialist. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Bree, and she's going to introduce herself and some interesting information we have about our certifications. Thanks, Bree.
Yeah, thank you, Jody. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm excited you're here. I'm excited to be here. As Jody said, I'm the Director of Certification and Standards for NCMA. I just joined NCMA in July, joined staff in July of 2022. Prior to that, I spent my entire career working in the contract management career field on the industry side, both working for large businesses, small businesses. I've touched federal contracts, international, commercial, kind of the whole gamut. I've been an NCMA member since 2004, and I have two certifications myself. I have the CPCM and CFCM. And I say all of that to share that, you know, I've been in your shoes as a user from obtaining a certification, going through the whole journey of application, taking the exam through recertification. So I'm bringing that unique user experience to the role, which I'm excited about. I wanted to also introduce Demi Brees. She joined us in November as contract support. She's helping to review, actually, I shouldn't say helping. She is the sole belly button that reviews all of your applications for new certification and recertification. She's also the friendly voice. If you've had a chance to call in and talk to her, she answers all your calls and also all your emails. So she has a very full plate of a one-man show. So Demi, say hi and a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I have been providing some customer service and certification assistance to NCMA since November of last year. And I'll be sure to drop in my contact information in the chat so that if you have any questions following this webinar, feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Demi. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about today. The first thing we'll cover is why get a certification. If you don't know your why, that's really the most important part of the journey. Otherwise, we'll give an overview of our certifications, going through the application process, talking through resources such as the handbooks, going over recertification as well as the CPE process. And then Jody's going to take it from there to walk you through some study course options that we have, as well as learning options for CPEs. With that said, I do want to make sure everyone knows you do not have to take any sort of NCMA course to get your certification. There is no mandatory study course, prep course, no mandatory learning sessions from NCMA. You can do it however you want. These are just options and resources that we offer you. So if you don't know NCMA, if you're new to us, we've been around a while, since 1959. We're focused entirely on professional development for contract managers. And to that end, we have 4 certifications that we offer. 3 of those certifications are ANAB accredited. That's our CCMA, our CFCM, and our CPCM. So what is ANAB accreditation? Well, we wanted to ensure that we're delivering to you the highest quality certification program that is out there within the world. And if you're familiar with ISO, which is the International Standards Organization, they have a standard for certifications. It's the ISO 17024 standard. And it is the only standard for certification programs in the world. So ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, their entire job is to audit organizations such as ourselves against these ISO standards to determine if we're actually meeting those qualifications. So the 3 certifications I mentioned, CCMA, CFCM, and CPCM, were audited through the ANSI's National Accreditation Board and found to meet these qualifications of ISO. I'll also say that this is not a one and done process. We're audited on an annual basis on the entirety of the certification program. So end to end from application through recertification. And we have regular checkpoints that we have to meet throughout the year. So we have to continuously deliver to you this quality program. And what that means to you when you're getting one of our certifications is you're getting a certification that meets the highest quality standards for certification programs in the entire world. And to date, there is no other contract management certification body that offers a contract management certification that's accredited. So only our certifications have this accreditation. We've talked through the team here. The person that wasn't mentioned in the introductions is John Wilkinson. He is the president of Think LLC. He's a consultant to our certification department. A lot of you might know John. He's been around NCMA for a while. He used to hold my job as director of certifications. If you don't know John, you should get to know John. He's a great guy. Okay. I think this chart here is probably the most important part of the whole presentation. If you don't know your why, you're not going to get very far. So what's the value of a certification? Why do it? Well, the first thing I'll say is it's individual to each person. My why might be different than your why, and so forth. So you have to determine that for yourself. But the main reasons people get an NCMA certification is to stand out among their peers, to make them a little more competitive in the job market. And I can say in my previous role on the contract management side, I ran contract departments, and I always look for people with NCMA certifications. So it really does give you a competitive edge. It benefits your continuous learning and your continuous growth, which also helps you stand out among your peers. And then you can apply the knowledge that you learn going through the certification progress to enhance your organizations, realize process efficiencies and improvements. And I definitely did this as well, using the knowledge. The SIMBOK, the contract management body of knowledge, is a fantastic tool. And if you apply those knowledge bases and the competencies that you learn, you can gain a lot of efficiencies in your own workload and then also in your organizations. It's also a great training resource. I also use this as a manager. I had an employee who needed to learn the FAR, and what contracts manager has time to teach someone the FAR? I definitely did not. So I sent her through NCMA's Certified Federal Contract Manager prep course. She got her CFCM, and I use that as my training resource to train my people on the FAR. Other great things about our certifications, I'm going to start at the bottom here, the fact that they're voluntary. This is huge, and I think this is what really gives you the competitive edge in the job market. Because if it's mandatory, the only way you're going to stand out is if you're the one person that doesn't have it. It kind of loses its value when it's mandatory. Being voluntary shows that you have a desire and a passion to grow, you care about the career field, you care about professional development and success, and you care about giving back to the community. And as a hiring manager, those are the types of people I want on my team. Our certifications are stackable, so we have one design for every stage of your career. You don't have to get them in that order. You can cherry pick them as you want, but we do have a certification to kind of guide you through every step of your professional journey if you desire. And they're portable, so you can take it with you. They're not tied to a specific organization, agency. anything like that, as long as you're staying in the contract management practice area profession, our certification is going to be of value to you, and they're widely recognized in the industry. So these are our 4 certifications. Our CCMA is our Certified Contract Management Associate. Our CCMA is what we call our Universal Certification. Our CPCM, I'll say, is also universal. And what that means is the competency or the knowledge base of those certifications is not specific to one area of contract management. It covers every practice area of contract management. So you can use that knowledge base regardless of if you're working on federal contracts, commercial, international, and the like. Our CCMA is based on the Contract Management Standard, or CMS. The CMS was also audited through ANSI and found to meet the ISO standard. So it does meet that global world qualification for a contract management standard. The CMS is kind of provides a general overview of contract management competencies. It's a great training resource. The federal government announced in January that they are adopting the CMS as the basis of their training for their employees. We also have a handful of higher education institutions who are adopting the CMS and the SIMBOK as textbooks and course material for their programs. And we have some industry partners who are doing the same. The CFCM, our Certified Federal Contract Manager, this one is specific to the FAR. It's entirely based on the Federal Acquisition Regulations, and this one is what is designed kind of mid-level to your career. The sister to that is our Certified Commercial Contract Manager. It's based entirely on the Uniform Commercial Code. So these are for mid-level and up in your career. And then the CPCM, our Certified Professional Contract Manager, is what we call our gold standard. It's kind of the big daddy of certifications, if you will, that sort of caps them all off. It takes all the knowledge base of the others and builds on that. So it takes the competencies of the CMS and the SIMBOK as our contract management body of knowledge. And the SIMBOK expands on the competencies of the CMS. And it's essentially a textbook, and it's just a fantastic resource. And I don't say that because I'm paid to say it. I say that having come from practicing contract management and using it. It's just a wealth of business management information. It goes into the nitty-gritty of contract management, as well as how contract management intertwines with the other functional areas of a business: accounting, finance, business development, marketing, risk, property, insurance, all that good stuff. So it's really just a fantastic wealth of information. Okay, so this chart kind of gives you the cliff notes, if you will, of all the requirements of certification. And we will have these slides available for you, so you can kind of take this chart and hang it on your wall if you want as a resource. All this information is also available on our website and in the handbooks. And in the handbooks, each certification has its own handbook. It's going to go into a lot more information on this. Couple of things I'll touch on this chart. The first thing I want to mention is we on staff do not set any of these requirements. These are actually set by you and the contract management profession. So we have the Certification Oversight Body, or COB, and it's made up entirely of volunteers from the contract management profession. So these are professionals who represent both buyers and sellers, as well as there's federal, commercial, and general interest. So it kind of has a holistic, balanced approach of the practice areas of contract management represented. These are volunteers in the career field, and they are the ones that set the requirements for the certification. And then we on staff implement and administer those. And I like to share that because prior to joining staff, I didn't know that. And I think it's really pretty cool and a unique thing that NCMA does, where we allow you in the career field who are actually practicing contract management to set the requirements for certification. So these are entry requirements or eligibility requirements to apply. A couple of things I'll touch on quickly here. When you submit your application, you will demonstrate a degree if it's required. You can demonstrate that by uploading your transcripts, or if you can't get your hands on transcripts, you can send a copy of your diploma and we'll accept that. The years of experience, so these are years of experience in contract management or related field. Related field is kind of wide open. Contract management has hands in so many different professions. So I think there's a lot of room there. And you'll demonstrate years of experience by uploading your resume with your application. These are the hours of continuing professional education required to apply for certification. These numbers look daunting, but you have 10 years to earn these CPE credits. And then information on the exam length, the passing score, and recertification here on this chart. Okay, the certification phases. I like to share this because it's sort of the method behind the madness, if you will. The intent behind the phase of the certification process. So the first step is just gaining the qualifications to apply. So the education, the training, the experience. The second step is obtaining the knowledge. So if you're going after the CFCM, which is based on the FAR, learning the FAR, obtaining that knowledge. The next step is then sitting for your exam and passing the exam. And then the last step, which is continuous, is recertification, which is based on continuous learning. Certifications are a lifelong journey and a lifelong process. It's not a one and done thing, which is why we have the recertification, which I like to think of as an accountability partner, kind of to keep you on track with your professional development and growth. So you're ready to apply. How do you do it? You're going to submit your application and pay the fee online. You'll do it by creating a profile on NCMA if you don't already have one. And you'll do it entirely through your NCMA profile. You do not have to be an NCMA member to get a certification or maintain certification, and you don't have to be a member to have a profile. You'll submit your application, which will be reviewed by our certification department, otherwise known as DEMI. She reviews all of your applications. We do ask for up to 15 business days generally, and then during our busy season, which is December to April, so we're in that right now, it will take longer than 15 business days because we're handling both new certification applications as well as recertifications. And then once you're approved, you'll get an email from our testing vendor, Criterion, with instructions on how to create an account through them. You'll go through Criterion to schedule your exam. Criterion administers all of our exams, proctors them, and then you get to set all of that yourself so you can determine when you want to take the exam. A couple things to keep in mind once your application is approved. You have a 1-year eligibility period, so from date of application approval, or up to 3 exam attempts to achieve certification. These are the fees. So there is a discount for members, and the application fee covers our time to review your application, process your application, work with our vendors, communicate with you as needed. And then Criterion, as I said, administers all of our exams. This is their exam fee. And then the recertification fees, which are paid at time of recertification. I do want to share we're a nonprofit organization. We're not here to make money off of you. And if you look around at other certification bodies, ours are pretty much the lowest on the market. Most entities charge in the thousands of dollars to have certifications, but we're not here for that. We're here for your professional development and growth. Okay, the handbooks. These are really important. They're a free download on the website. They're going to tell you absolutely everything you need to know about certification. from, you know, what is the CPCM? Do I really want it? How do I apply? It'll talk you through the steps for application. It tells you the different test formats. There's online proctored exams versus on-site. Please pay attention to that because there are very specific requirements for each, with the online having software requirements as well as environmental requirements. So make sure you read through that and know you can meet those requirements before you choose your exam format. The handbooks also give you tips on the types of questions to expect in the exam. It breaks down how the questions are developed, what types of questions are on the exam, what types of questions won't be on the exam. It tells you by topic area the range of questions that will be on the exam, so you know I need to focus, you know, okay, the bulk of the exam are on these 3 subjects, so I need to focus my studying on that. It gives you tips for exam day, all that good stuff, and it also walks through recertification. Okay, so recertification, I've kind of already touched on the why behind that. It's to be your accountability partner to demonstrate and continue your lifelong journey of learning and professional development. And I know hiring managers pay attention to that. I've had them tell me that they look for people not only with new certifications, but people that have maintained their recertification because it shows that they're really committed to their professional development. Couple of quick tips on recertification. Don't wait until the last year, start planning ahead. So depending on which certification you have, the recertification requirements will be different, a 3-year cycle or a 5-year cycle. And the CPE requirements will be different. For my own self, for example, I have to earn 100 CPEs to maintain my CPCM. I've broken that down to 20 CPEs per year, which is extremely doable. 20 is very doable. And it's wide open how you earn CPEs and where you get them from. So that'll get me to my 100. So plan ahead. Another tip on recertification, you have to be fully approved by December 31st of your recertification deadline. So that's not a submit your application date. That's have submitted your application and allow time for processing and review. And again, check your handbooks. It's going to tell you everything you need to know. All right, CPE. This is always the area that gets the most questions. So I want to touch on it here. I'll also share a couple other resources. If you're following Contract Management Magazine, there is an article on a deep dive on CPE that's out in the March edition. And Jody and I are also doing a full hour on just CPE later this month. So the CPE guide is your friend. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about CPE. It was recently updated. I updated it in January. So you can download that as a free download on the website. I have the table of contents pictured here, so you can see we really do cover everything. 3 keys to CPE. Qualifying, it needs to align with the SIMBOK competencies. Those are going to show up in the appendix of the CPE guide. There are so many competencies. I should have counted them to give you the number. All of that to say, you're going to be hard pressed to find a training that you can't map into a competency. It's also entirely up to you. You determine how your training maps to the competency. We are not scrutinizing that. The other thing is we're not scrutinizing what you choose for professional development. We purposely keep it open so that your continuous learning journey is meaningful to you. You choose the professional development path that you want to take, and you can align the training that matters. So we're not going to pull your resume and look at your training and scrutinize to determine if we think it's good or not. We leave that entirely up to you. The only things that we would disqualify are things that I'm going to say are somewhat intuitive, like Microsoft Excel tutorial. Someone comes to your office to demo a printer. Those things are not professional development. Otherwise, sky's the limit. Timing, you have 10 years for new applications. So 10 years from the date of application for certification. for your CPE to qualify. So if you were to apply today, you could go all the way back to 2013. And then recertification, it's within the designated recertification period. And again, those are different for each certification. Documentation, section 7.0 of the guide outlines the requirements for supporting documentation. Two things to share here. One is get creative. So we're not dictating to you the format in which you have to present this information. We're just telling you the information we need to know, we need to see in your documentation. So provider organization, date of the training, what was the training, what are the CPEs? And if they don't give you CPEs, go to section 4.0 of the guide, which tells you how to determine the CPEs for yourself. You can do this in any number of ways because we know not every course is going to give you a certificate that spits out this information exactly as we have it listed. You can send us copies of your Outlook notice that shows, you were registered for the training. It's got the topic, it's got the dates and the hour length. You could take a screenshot. If there's a flyer, you could upload that if it has information. Get creative. There's lots of ways that you can show this documentation. All right, Jody, over to you.
Okay, everybody. So just a couple of things I saw already coming through the chat a little bit. So as Bree said, you do have to earn your CPEs before you can submit your application. So it's not done afterwards, you do the CPEs beforehand. Also, you can submit your CPEs on your NCMA profile. So it's very easy. You just go into your profile under continuing education and you can submit your CPEs there as well. We're going to have an entire course devoted, a webinar later this month for CPEs. So if you want to hear more about CPEs and how to earn them and avenues to go and how everything is done, later this month, we do have an hour-long webinar as well, just on CPEs. So you can go ahead and find that in the NCMA catalog. Okay, so for those of you who are preparing to take your certification, is there ways that we have prep courses available to you? So the first prep course I want to talk about is our CCMA prep course. Now the CCMA is our introductory certification. We have a completely self-paced course available. It's going to take you through the standards and regulations of the CCMA, which is based on the Bree might be stop working on for me, Bree. What's the document the CCMA is based on? The Contract Management Standard. I knew it. Thank you, Bree. Based on the Contract Management Standard. So the prep course we have is a 5 CPE course, which you can apply to your CPEs needed to sit the exam. You can access this on any device and it's completely self-paced, meaning you can learn it at your own pace on your own schedule. It does include the 90-question practice exam as well, so you don't have to purchase that separately if you would like to study. Again, it's not a requirement to take the course, but it's just a guide to help you prepare for yourself. Also, by taking our prep courses, it does not guarantee that you will automatically pass the exam. You still have to know the Contract Management Standard or whatever documentation is necessary for that exam to make you pass, so help you pass. On the next slide, we have our more extensive courses. We have a CPCM and a CFCM prep course. These are offered quarterly, and they are asynchronous learning, meaning that we have an instructor, they are instructor-led. The instructor kind of acts as a guide that takes you through the documentation. So if you're studying for the CPCM exam, that would be the SymBox 7th edition. And the CFCM exam, obviously you're going to have to know that the far backwards and forwards. So we have a study guide for that too. With these courses, it is 10 weeks. Our next one starts on April 3rd. So less than a month away is when our next course starts. We have another one starting on June 26th. That's our summer cohort. It's very easy. There's no like live lectures or anything like that. Everything is pre-recorded. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I live in another time zone. How can I, join? It's no problem at all. You can study in any time zone at your own pace. And again, we have the 10-week course. We give you a little bit more time afterwards in case you haven't completed any assignments. At the end of the course, we're hoping that you're better prepared for the exam. You get the access to the practice exam as well in the course. You also get 40 CPEs that you can, again, put towards your applications that you're doing. So it's a great course. It's a little bit more deep again, and again, it's 10 weeks long. And you can, our next course starts on April 3rd. On the next slide, somebody was asking about study guides or course books. Oh, sorry, before I do that, on the next slide is our certification practice exams. So that's okay, Bree, you can go back. So if you're not interested in the prep course, but you kind of just want a little bit of a reminder, you can definitely purchase our practice exam separate if you wish. Again, if you're getting the prep courses, they're already included. But we also have practice exams, and we have them for all 4 certifications there. They're available on our learning catalog as well. But again, if you're getting the prep course, it's already included. Okay, on the next slide is our books. In our bookstore, we have copies of the SymBook. I just have 600 delivered last week, so we have lots of available if anybody doesn't have the new SymBook, SymBook 7. Also, if you're studying for your CFCM exam, we highly recommend our Certified Federal Contract Manager Study Guide, which breaks down the parts of the FAR for you. And on the next slide, for those of you who are looking to earn more CPEs, hey, Jody, does NCMA offer any opportunities to earn more CPEs outside of your prep courses? Absolutely, we do. So it's super easy. You go on the NCMA homepage. Under Learning, you're going to find the Learning Catalog. And on the next slide, what do we have available coming up in the near future? We have lots of good things. Oh, sorry, read next slide. Thank you so much. So we have our lunchtime webinar series happening. As always, here's what we have going on the rest of the spring. In fact, tomorrow we have our International Contracting Buy America Trade Agreement happening. It's a 3-part international series. You can just join 1 or all 3 parts. Tomorrow just happens to be part 2. We have that CPE Explained free to all webinar that I was mentioning earlier on March 22nd. We also have some free to member events where you can earn CPEs free if you're a member. How great is that? We have 2 coming up, one in April on the contracting workforce shortage, and another one in May on inflation economic price adjustment. So just because you're a member, we love you and we want to offer you opportunities to get training and earn CPEs as well. So if you're not a member yet, maybe think about joining and earn some free CPEs. Okay, on the next slide, we also have, if you want to earn a bunch of CPEs at one time, we highly, highly recommend attending one of our conferences. It is a great way to meet other people in the industry, to connect, to get great training, and to earn a whole bunch of CPEs in maybe just 1 or 2 days. So the next conference we have coming up is SubCon. It's going to be March 29th and 30. Mitchell, the CPEs depend on the course. So usually 1 hour is about 1 CPE. So like our lunchtime webinars would be 1.5 because they're 90 minutes long. We also have ones that can be 10 CPEs. It just varies depending on the length of the course. Anyways, about SubCon, March 29th and 30th is when it's happening. Now, if you can't make it to DC area to take this in person, you can join the conference virtually. We have virtual, and the cool thing with the virtual one is if you don't have the time to watch it live, I mean, great, watching live is wonderful. You can ask questions, it's more interactive, but maybe you have a meeting that day, maybe you gotta take the kids to soccer, it doesn't matter. You can go ahead and you have 30 days afterwards to watch all the videos and obtain your CPEs. So if you can make it in person, you can earn up to 25 CPEs. If you can't, you can attend virtually. Again, you have 30 days to watch all the videos and earn your credits, and you can earn up to 20 CPEs by attending the conference virtually. Now, the day before the conference on the next slide, we have an all-day training. So this one is, you still register for it with the conference, but it's separate. It's Introduction to the Federal Contracting Life Cycle, Getting Small Businesses Ready for 2023. Here's a way to earn 6 CPEs in 1 day. That's it. It's taught by our wonderful Michelle Courier, who is fantastic. She's going to put on a great show. And even if you can't attend in person, you can also do this one virtually. You do have to attend virtually. You don't get to get the 30 days to watch it afterwards for this one. This one you do have to attend live to receive the credits. But here's one way to earn a lot of credits in just 1 day. So that's really fantastic. And then I think I have one more slide. Is that right? Is this the last one? Yes, we also have our U.S. Federal Contracting Fundamentals course coming up. This is our new certificate courses, in case you are unaware. Our certificate courses are fantastic. They're really deep dives into different topics. This is the first one in our series. We're going to be offering the second one soon enough. What do you get when you take our certificate courses? It's a hour course spread over 4 days. So it's like 2.5 hours each day. It's not all day, it's just a little chunk of your day. In the end, you're going to receive 10 CPEs for it, and you get a digital badge to put on your LinkedIn profile. So that's pretty cool too for those anybody looking for a job. And you're like, oh, I got a fancy NCMA little doohickey badge on my profile. That's pretty great. So again, you can use all these CPEs towards your application. These are just big chunks of ways to earn it, as opposed to just taking lots of little trainings, maybe over years. You're like, Jody, I'm trying to recertify. I need 40 credits as soon as I can. Here are some opportunities so you can earn a lot of CPEs in just a short amount of time. Okay, is that the next slide?
All right.
Great. Okay, back to Bree.
All right, so let's take some of your questions. Demi, I believe you've been reviewing the Q&A questions. Could you read some for us, please?
Yes. So we have a question in the chat or in the Q&A. They want to know, are you able to keep your certification or renew if you leave your employer or the field of contract management?
Oh, that's a great question. You can keep your certification and continue to recertify. And that goes back to the value proposition of certifications, where they're completely portable. You take it with you. They're not tied to a specific organization. Great question.
All right. The next question is, they want to know they have many years of contract management experience. Would you recommend going to the top of the pyramid or start with the CCMA and work your way up since they build on top of each other?
All right. So that's really going to be an individual choice. And it's going to depend on where you want to go with your career. So as well as what you're looking for. If you're looking for a general overview, refresher of contract management kind of basics, the CCMA is a great way to do that. If you want to get specific to a specific practice area, then you could touch on the CFCM to kind of bolster your knowledge of the FAR, or the CCCM if you want to kind of bolster your knowledge of the Uniform Commercial Code and commercial contracting. And the CPCM kind of just takes all of those things and goes into a lot more detail on them. So it's sort of the capstone. What I would advise you to do is go to our certification page, do a little research on each certification, check out the handbooks for the ones you're most interested in. And then I think that'll kind of guide you in what's best for you.
Demi, I'm going to take a next one. So I see a question that says, what is the fee for the actual training itself? Is there any additional fee aside from application and certification? So our prep courses are not required to sit the exam at all. They're just a device to help you study. The prices range from the CCMA to the CPCM anywhere between $350, I believe, and almost up to $600. And you can find that on our website in the learning catalog. You'll see certification preparation information available there. And they are a really good deal. I mean, if you're talking 40 CPEs for less than $600, that is the deal of the century. Our prep courses are very good. And you earn a lot of CPEs in just a couple of months. So there's that.
All right.
So we have another question. They want to know, does the SIMBOK change a lot from edition to edition?
Another great question. I would say I wouldn't say a lot, because that term is subjective. I do believe on our education webpage where we talk about the SIMBOK, we kind of break down the changes between version 6 and version 7, so you can get an idea of what changed. I'll also say, I think it was about 5 years between updates. I do know, like, one change I know off the top of my head is emotional intelligence was added as a competency in leadership. So that's an example of a change. Jody, but am I right? If they go to the website, they can see what changed.
Yeah, and can you also mention the two different SymBox and the testing that's available for the next fiscal year?
Great.
So, okay, so Bree's thinking about it. So currently you can choose.
Sorry, I was reading questions.
No problem at all. So the CPCM exam, there's currently two options you can choose to sit. One is the SymBox 6th edition, and the other one is the SymBox 7th edition. So you have until the end of this year of 2023 to choose which one you want. Starting in 2024, if I'm correct, Bree, you will only be able to choose the SymBox 7th edition. So
that is correct. Yes, that's absolutely right. And Demi, I see one question here. Can our chapter have access to this recording as a selling point for certification? The answer is absolutely yes. This recording is going to be posted on the website and available. So you guys can grab it and watch it anytime. Oh, I see another question, Demi, I'm going to grab. Where and how do you submit CPE? That's a great one. So you do that through your NCMA profile, and there's a page called Continuing Education, and you'll navigate to that page, and that's where you upload your CPE, and there'll be kind of a box that walks you through that process.
Again, the handbook for the study materials for the CPCM, which is the SymBox 7th edition, it's available on the NCMA bookstore. It is also available digitally on Google and Amazon. Same for the CFCM study guide. For those of you who are studying for the CCMA, it is the contract management standard, which is free to download on the NCMA website. And the CCCM free, if you remind me, it is the UCC, right? Which is also a free resource.
That is right. Yeah. What else do we have, Demi?
All right. So someone is a contract administrator in an architect firm, and they want to know which certification do you suggest they pursue? So for design firm professionals.
I'm going to say, again, that kind of depends. I would point to maybe the industry that you're in and take a look at that. So if you're doing more work on the federal side, the CFCM might be of interest. If it's more commercial based work, you might look at the CCCM. And if you're wanting just maybe something not specific to a practice area, but just more general contract management training, then the CCMA or CPCM could be used for you. And let's see. Jody, I saw a question for you on, I gotta find it here. Darn, I lost it.
Is the one about the
how
bundles?
to access the OPCs.
How to access. So once you purchase, the OPCs are our online prep courses. You can do that in our catalog. So you just go on the NCMA homepage under learning, the drop down comes down, and you're going to see preparation exams or preparation courses or something like that, something along to the certification preparation. That's it. And from there, that'll take you to our certification prep homepage, and that's where you can register for the CCMA self-paced course or our spring CPCM or CFCM prep courses that start on April 3rd. Once you've already purchased that course, so usually about a week beforehand, we're going to email you if you're in the CPCM or CFCM, but you're like, Jody, how do I get on any course that I've purchased for NCMA? I don't know how to do it. Super easy. If you're on the NCMA homepage and you go to that learning drop down, right at the bottom of that list, it's going to say access my virtual training. You click that. As long as you're logged in with your NCMA profile, it's going to take you to our LMS or learning management system, and that's where you can access all of your purchased courses. So if you purchase any type of self-paced or live course, again, you just go to the NCMA homepage as long as you're logged in the learning dropdown, go to the bottom where it says access my virtual training, and that will take you into the system and you can find all your purchase trainings there. Great question.
And I see Felicia here is asking, can CPEs only be earned from NCMA or college? Are any other organizations' trainings acceptable? I love this question. You can get your CPEs anywhere you like. We do not restrict it to just NCMA's courses. So kind of the sky's the limit. The only thing about college degrees is if you're using a college degree to meet the 4-year degree requirement, depending on the certification, some require a degree, you can't use the same courses that you took to earn that degree as CPE. So it's essentially no double dipping. But let's say you have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, you use one to meet the education requirement, you can totally use the other degrees coursework to meet the CPE requirement. You can get CPEs from so many places. There's lots of good training out there. So no, you can get them from anywhere. I love that question. Great question.
Well, Bree finds her next question. I have a question here.
Yeah.
It says, I am interested in the CFCM online prep course. For one of the registration options, it has the course and the application bundle. However, it does not say what's included in the application bundle. Can you please elaborate? And I'm very happy to do so. So this is a great option for those, if you're already a member. Our CPCM or CFCM bundles include the application fee, and it's just an easy way for you to purchase both things at the same time. So it just makes your process so you don't have to come back and purchase it later. You just purchase it all at once, especially if your company is paying for it. It's really nice and easy just to have them buy both at the same time. Now, if you're a non-member, we're going to get into some great details. So if you're a non-member, purchasing our bundles is going to save you so much money. So not only are you purchasing the OPC plus membership plus the application, you're then going to get the OPC or the prep course at the membership price, which is going to save you over $150, I think $130. And then you're going to get the application also at the member's price. So if you're a non-member, I highly recommend getting the bundle. That's the OPC plus membership plus application bundle, because you're going to save yourself the most money. Because again, you're getting the course at the member's price and you're getting the application at the member's price. So we highly recommend it. It does not include the study guide. I'm so sorry. So our study guides do have to be purchased separately just because the pricing is very different depending on where you live. So if you want to send the book to Alaska or you're sending the book around the corner in Virginia, the prices for shipping and handling are going to be different. So you do have to purchase the book separate. However, we recommend if anybody's living internationally, we highly recommend getting our electronic books instead. The CFCM study guide and the Simbock are both available on Amazon and Google Play.
Demi, I looks like you've marked a question from Horatio. Can the online exam be taken from home, or do we need to go to a specific type site to take the exam? So great question, Horatio. You can take the online exam anywhere you choose. I would recommend home as the best option. There are specific software requirements and environmental requirements that you have to meet when taking the online exam. So if you go to the handbook, it will detail out what all of those requirements are. And then you can check to see if you have a location, as well as computer and software that meets those requirements. What else do we have?
We have a question. They want to know, do you all still offer certification exams at World Congress?
Unfortunately, we do not. You can take let me start that over. We don't offer them at World Congress because they're all administered through our testing vendor. But you do have the option to take them on site or online, as we mentioned. And if you go out to Criterion's website, once you're approved for application, you'll be able to navigate and see all the location areas if you prefer an on-site option. What else do we have, Demi?
Bree, how do they book an exam? Is there a link on the website?
No, there is not. So you have to first have your application approved. Once your application is approved, you'll get an email from our testing vendor with instructions. So an email from Criterion with instructions on how to create your account. And then you'll get an email from them with instructions on how to schedule your exam and book it. Also, the handbooks also tell you how to schedule your exam. They also tell you how you can reschedule your exam and how you can cancel your exam if you need to, all within Criterion's website.
So Bree, can you speak about what the format of the test is? Is it multiple choice or essays?
Okay, so this is a good question. They are all multiple choice. However, the CPCM also includes scenario-based questions. So those scenario-based questions are multiple choice questions, but you'll be given a situation, a scenario, and then usually it's 3 to 4 questions that you'll be asked based on that scenario. And again, I'm going to say check out the handbooks, because the handbooks are going to tell you for each certification exactly the types of questions you can expect, down to whether or not true or false type questions will be there, whether or not, all of the above, none of the above type questions will be there, as well as how the questions are developed and the format. So I can speak generally that they're all multiple choice, but for whatever certification you're interested in, go to the handbook I think it's the take the exam section. That's going to tell you all that great detail about the test.
I have a question here for both of us, Bree. So it was stated that you need to know the FAR backwards and forwards, I'm assuming, for the CFCM exam, or will you learn it from the CFCM prep course? So again, the CFCM prep course is going to break down the FAR for you and help you learn it, but it is no substitute for learning the FAR. Would you agree or disagree, Bree?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll add to that, again, our prep courses are not mandatory. So they're there as an optional resource for you, but you can choose. And the other reasons we do that is not everybody studies the same and learns the same. So it's really dependent on you. I would say if you really want to know, maybe grab a practice exam, test yourself out, see how you do, and then maybe from there you can kind of dial in how to study. What else do we have, Demi?
One question about the CPE requirement. So they want to know how would they find out if their degree meets the CPE requirements?
Okay, so I think the answer to that is couple things there. Not the handbook, the CPE guide actually has a whole section on this topic. So check that out for the full details. The general answer is as long as you're not using that same degree to meet the education requirements, you can use it as CPE. All you have to do is map it to a symbol competency. I guarantee you there will be a competency you can map it to. And the only other requirement then is that the courses themselves that you're going to use as CPE were earned within the applicable time period. So if it's for an application, within 10 years of date of application. If it's for a recertification, within whatever that recertification period might be, it could be 3 years or 5 years, depending on the certification. And I'm going to say we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions.
Yes, one last question about the CPE guide. Does it detail how much each CPE or credit is worth?
Yeah.
Does it? Okay.
So section 4.0, and I think this is what the person is asking, is going to tell you how to determine the number of CPE earned based on the course. It's also going to give you a conversion chart. So if for whatever, if you get the credits as CLP or What else have I seen? There's several others. CLP is the only one coming to mind. But it's going to tell you how to convert those credits. It also tells you for college or university courses, if you're using that as CPE, how you can convert the credit hours from semester or quarter into CPE. So it's section 4.0 of the guide, measuring CPE, will tell you that. And do we have one more question?
Time for one last question?
I think we can squeeze one more in.
Okay. Here is one about contract management is a part of the entire procurement process. Do you certify every other phase or only the contract management?
So I'm going to say we're certifying. I'm not entirely sure what they mean by that question, but it covers all things contract management. So the CCMA and CPCM, though the knowledge base of those two certifications are going to apply regardless of practice area that you're in. And the CPCM, I've seen program managers obtain a CPCM. I've seen business managers, people not directly in the contract management field, get our certification. So it certainly can be useful to other practice areas. All right, and I'm gonna say, I think that's probably all the time we have for your questions. I really thank you for your participation. This information will be available to you. You can grab it, use it, take it to your chapters. We also enjoy speaking to your chapters and organizations. Jody and I did that yesterday, actually. So that's also a resource for you. So I want to thank you all for your participation in our event today. I hope it helped answer your questions about our certifications. Continue to check out great resources like CM Magazine, as well as upcoming webinars. We have the one on CPE coming up in a couple of weeks. A very important note, please take a moment to complete a survey, which is going to be in Zoom, and it'll pop up on your screen once you leave the webinar. And completing that survey is how we're going to be able to send the recording and the slide decks to you. So it's very important you do that. And with that, it concludes our program for today. Thank you again. We look forward to seeing you at a future NCMA event.
Thank you, everybody. And please remember, if you have any questions, member services at ncmahq.org is always the best way to get a hold of anybody on our team.